Remember when you were 5 years old and you rewatched Snow White and Cinderella on repeat? Because I do. As a little girl, examining the physical appearances, working values, and even comparing yourself to these princesses is not what you usually took away from the story. Or, at least, that's what we told ourselves and accepted to believe. However, research by Bespoke demonstrated that Disney princess images do in fact have an enormous impact in the minds of young girls. Since young girls are exposed to these images so often, they do shape their creation of future self images. Disney, along with pop culture entertainment, has a huge effect on what audiences want to see, but also shapes the standards of acceptable behavior of how to think and behave. Beesper reflected on several studies that have been conducted on elementary school children between the ages of 5 to 10 to address the effects of stereotypical Disney princess images. The results demonstrated that recurring roles such as housemakers, damsels in distress, and being so perfectly reliant on their beauty does affect a young girl's development of a positive self image and working values. Results from these studies showed that these negative media depictions have a significant role in a young girl's life, and the negative influences outweigh the positive ones. Here's a little background about Disney princesses. The first two classics were Cinderella, which came out in 1950, and Sleeping Beauty, which came out in 1959. These two classics came out at a time that women had a very conventional role in society, and stereotypical gender roles was the structured way of life. Both classics focus on repetitive themes about women being beautiful, weak, damsels in distress, housewives, nurturing, and always caring for the family and others around them. These portrayals are from the time in which they originated from. Bakersbury and Gredgold claim that Disney movies mirror society norms at the time in which they are produced, which is why Disney has begun to incorporate more realistic versions of current gender norms. One focus of this research centers around the physical appearance of Disney princesses. Research by Bakersbury and Gredgold has emphasized that women's most important assets is their physical attractiveness in Disney movies. Studies also demonstrate that women seek to gain power through their attractiveness are often those who are most dependent on men's resources. A research done by Dion Bershield and Balster stated that people believe that what is beautiful is good, which means that physically attractive people are always have more favorable qualities. Researchers Bazzini, Curtin, Jocelyn, Regan, and Martz tested this theory and found that Disney characters in fact do promote what is beautiful is good stereotype. Princesses such as Snow White and Sleeping Beauty are portrayed as delicate, weak, and physically beautiful. However, female villains in these movies are portrayed as unattractive and evil. This study heavily reflected female attractiveness by their waist to hip ratios, which refers to the smaller the waist, the more attractive they appear to be. Allen and Williams depict that Disney princesses use their sexualities to get things that they want and need, as well as to get their true love to fall in love with them. They also don't stop until they get the affection they seek from the men they have their eye on. The story usually continues as the male character will rescue the damsel and risk his life in order to live with her happily ever after. Some examples of characters that rely on their sexuality was Ariel, when she lost her voice and had to rely only on her physical appearance to get the prince to fall in love with her. Jasmine also used her sexuality to distract Jafar from seeing Aladdin. Two depictions that Ong and Williams found is one, that princesses are heavily dependent on men, and two, that princesses give up something important to them in order to be with their true love. Some examples include Ariel giving up her voice, Belle her freedom, Rapunzel gave up her mother, and Tina gave up on her dreams. These kinds of depictions have some important effects and influence on a young girl's behavior and identity because these young girls spend so much time watching and looking up to these animations. Researchers England et al. Stated that social scripts or constructions of gender norms are present in the Disney princess movies and that have been found in previous studies to influence viewers' beliefs and actions. According to these researchers, young children look up to these animated characters and act out their behaviors and roles. These misleading images of women create inaccurate depictions that young girls who look up to these characters will follow. Researcher Irwit states that these depictions also affect how young males view women. If they are only exposed to inaccurate depictions of these physical appearances, they will view them as what women are meant to look like. But don't worry, there have been changes in our Disney princesses. As stated before, Disney adapts to the kinds of social norms of that time. Recent Disney movies have been adapting to new physical appearances and abilities of Disney princesses, which means that those little girls that are watching these movies on repeat will get a more realistic princess that they could look up to in the future. Disney's been stepping out of their stereotypical weak housewife, damsel in distress, and physical perfect princess. Disney has been creating more diverse roles for princesses. They are now representing African American princesses, Hawaiian princesses, and Irish princesses, according to Medium Corporation. Princess movies nowadays aren't revolved around women doing housework and finding Prince Charming. Princesses are being portrayed as heroes. For example, Moana leaves her home to find a way to save her island and her people, and in no way does she give up anything for the man she fell in love with. In Frozen, Elsa leaves her home because she wanted to protect them and not cause them any harm. Another diverse factor that Disney is changing is the princess's physical form. Disney is now incorporating more diverse body shapes in their princesses, according to Bradley. For example, Moana demonstrates a step in the right direction in a positive body shape by showing her a strong figure such as legs and arms and some curves. In the film Brave, Merida is not portrayed as perfectly and beautiful as others. She's depicted as with thick, messy ginger hair, and she's often not dressed in proper princess clothing, and is always in action with her bow and arrow, which demonstrates power. One call to action would be to the movie producers. They need to produce more strong female leads that include more diverse characters, whether it's physical or racial. This will help little girls be more aware that there isn't just one image of women. They also need to produce more female characters that depict them in action, whether it's crossing an ocean to save her people or shooting arrows. This will give little girls an inspiration to see that women are just as capable of doing what males do. Another call to action would be to the parents, who should be role models to the little girls and show them more depictions of powerful, successful, and smart women characters. Little girls will be positively influenced by those strong depictions. Trust me, when I was a little girl, although I didn't realize it until reflecting back on my Disney princess movies, I really wanted that happily ever after moment with my Prince Charming. However, nowadays that I'm exposed to more depictions of strong, powerful characters, even in Disney princesses, I'm more inspired to be like them. If parents were to show little girls more recent Disney princess films, such as Moana, Tangled, and Brave, before showing them some of the classics, little girls will know what women are capable of. Since being exposed to more strong depictions of female characters, I no longer think that happiness means having a man by my side. Hopefully, simple but influential depictions of Disney princesses will be more inspirational characters that little girls, just like me, could look up to in the future.